alongside me, Sky Sports' Gary Neville. Gary, I wonder if we're going to get a bit of a double hit today, actually, as well. Not only see Liverpool's title credentials, but also that of Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us see Chelsea as title winners, or even Liverpool for that matter, but what you have got this moment in time is a very intriguing game where I think Liverpool are ahead of Chelsea. We all know that, but we want to know the distance that they're ahead of them. And I think Chelsea, I remember first game of the season watching them against City and thinking there's something about that I like. I had to put them in my top four on Monday Night Football the night after I've seen them. But today, I think the way in which Maresca wants to play football, his style of play, this is the ultimate test. I think this is the most difficult away ground in the country to come and play football, particularly when it's a ferocious atmosphere, which I suspect it will be in that first half an hour. So I'm interested to see how, particularly that Chelsea midfield do with Caicedo, Fernandes, Cole Palmer drifting in there. Can they get on the ball and play? Liverpool's midfield's a good midfield, and they're willing defenders, but are they great defenders? We'll find out today.
Only Manchester City have scored more goals in the Premier League this season so far than Chelsea, and of course Liverpool, the most miserly defence in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, and something's got to give. People are saying that this is Liverpool's most difficult game. Yeah, I get that from the league positions, but I still think going to Old Trafford is a tough game for them, and they're brilliant there. I think Liverpool today will look forward to this match. I think both teams look to play. I think that Chelsea like to go forward, as you say. Liverpool have been strong defensively. I do think Liverpool will be too strong for them. I think the atmosphere, the strength, I think will be too much in the end for Chelsea. But go and prove me wrong, Chelsea. That's what we want. You know what I mean? They're a team that are still trying to build trust in everybody. Last season was challenging for them. This season, people are a lot more optimistic, including us and ourselves and Chelsea fans. So I'm really looking forward to today. It should be a really good game.
If Chelsea are to prove you wrong today, then obviously Cole Palmer is going to be a big factor in that. I mean, his numbers are ridiculous. 44 goal involvements in 40 Premier League games for Chelsea.
There's a player to look at for Cole Palmer today in Salah. When Salah first came to Liverpool, none of us expected that he would do what he did in his first 2 seasons, let alone go and do it and be a superstar for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. You know, Cole Palmer has completely shocked us all with his numbers, his assists and his goal ratio is off the scale. Can he go and do it now for 5, 6, 7, 8 years? And I always think that this place, for a creative player to find space to be able to play at, I think, as I said before, I think it's the toughest place to try and get, if you like, some time on the ball. But Cole Palmer has a habit of making everything look really easy. He looks so comfortable in possession, and it'll be interesting to see how he deals with it out here today, because this is, like I say, it's a fantastic test for him up against Konate and Van Dijk and also all those other Liverpool players that he'll find himself in the game against.
Enzo Maresca was kind of making the point as well this week that they can't become too over-reliant on Cole Palmer, but you know, there's been contributions as well from Nicholas Jackson so far, Madueke as well, and that kind of sums up the smorgasbord of attacking talent we've got on show. You mentioned Salah there as well, because Liverpool equally potent in attack.
What he's done, Maresca, in these first few weeks in his reign, he's actually made us believe in we knew these players that came for the massive amount of money that was spent on them and the length of contracts, they had potential. They're all quite young with potential, and we needed to see that potential. Maresca's got that out of them. You mentioned Madueke. He looks like now that's not a bad signing all of a sudden. And you're right, they all need to contribute. Nicholas Jackson's taken a lot of stick. I think it's always been unfair. I really like Nicholas Jackson. If you said to me you've got a young striker who runs in behind, who gives his all every single week, and he's raw, and he's a little bit sort of, if you like, needs polishing, but I don't think he's the problem for Chelsea. I think he's a real talent, a real threat for them. Yeah, he might be a little bit clumsy in front of goal. They might need eventually somebody a little bit more sort of, if you like, articulate alongside him. But I think Chelsea have got some really good young players, and Maresca's getting, I think, the best out of them at this moment. I think today is an ultimate test, I think, for Maresca, coming up against Slot for the first time. Can he play his football? Are they good enough? Because they have been caught in possession deep, Chelsea, a few times this season. Can they play out against Liverpool? Can they have the courage to play here? Can those young defenders that basically think that, you know, they can play out from the back and go and get the ball in the 6-yard box, can they have the courage to do it when Liverpool are pressing them high? Because they're very good at that. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered in today's game, and we're going to see those sort of questions and answers develop in the next few hours.
Yeah, because I'm interested as well to see what difference you have noted under Arne Slot with Liverpool, because to get 9 wins out of 10 to start your managerial career, become the most successful start to a Liverpool managerial career ever, it's ridiculous numbers again, isn't it, from Slot?
They've had a great start. I think still there's an element of looking at it at Christmas. I think that's when I think you sit back and think, well, they've had a promising start, which has been really good, into a great start when you've had 3 or 4 months of work, when you've played everybody once round. So I think there's still an element of that. People are looking at Liverpool's fixtures, including ourselves, and thinking that they aren't the toughest set of fixtures, but you've got to give respect to him for what he's done. The possession is obviously a lot higher at times, they're more patient, but actually at times in games when they've needed to, they've been quite direct. You know, they're direct when they had to be against Ipswich. They changed the way in which they played. That was the very first game of the season, and they've done that in a couple of other games as well. So for me, the defensive structure is strong. What he has got, I remember when Arsene Wenger came into Arsenal, I think it was 28 years ago now, and I think he was advised to leave that back five alone because it was obviously the famous back five of Arsenal at the time with Adams and Winterburn and Dixon and Seaman in that back five. What Liverpool have is a back five that probably played together more than any other in this league, with obviously Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate. Obviously he's not played all the time, but Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. We know Alisson's out at this moment in time, but they've got a real solid base and foundation to build from, and that really does help the Liverpool manager, I think.
Gary, thanks as ever. It's building up very nicely, of course, and we maybe not looking necessarily at title credential, but we might get a soups on of an idea just how far these two teams can go, certainly in the race at least for Champions League football.